If you are like most people, you probably expect to work till you are in your 60s before you get to that magical thing called retirement, where you get to finally stop working for money and start living life on your own terms. No more waking up to an alarm clock, traveling in peak hour traffic, or answering to a boss. But then, over to the extreme end of this spectrum, there are people who are trying to speedrun this whole working thing and retire even as early in their 30s and 40s. This is a movement also known as financial freedom, retire early, or short for FIRE. While this may seem unbelievable for most people, many FIRE practitioners have achieved the impossible, and they show that just by following a few simple math, you too can achieve early retirement.
Yes, you.
But is this really all sunshine and rainbows? Today, we will jump into the FIRE to look at the problems with it and why it might not be for everyone. According to a famous study, also known as the Trinity study, it was found that if you only withdraw 4% from a portfolio made up of 100% stocks, it can theoretically last you for at least 30 years. So, for example, if you are spending $40,000, you divide it by 4%, you will arrive at $1 million. That's the portfolio size that you will need to achieve financial independence. And the faster you arrive at that number, the earlier you can retire. That's why at the heart of the FIRE movement, the goal is to save as much of your income as possible, live below your means, and invest your money. Do that consistently and ka-ching! Before you know it, you are financially free and can quit a job and go party at some beach all day long. But how much of your income do you actually need to save? While the conventional budgeting advice suggests that you should set aside at least 20%, FIRE practitioners typically aim to save 60%, 70%, or even as much as 85% of their income. While that sounds simple in theory, but I know lah, reality is in fact much more complicated than that. Assuming you are earning the median income in Singapore, which is 5.5k a month or 4.4k after CPF contribution, a 60% savings rate would mean you will need to save as much as $2,640 a month, leaving you with just $1,760 to spend. If you have no kids and parents to support or are a boy forever alone single, then still possible lah. But if you have a family, then may God bless you. According to the Minimum Income Standard report, it was found that a couple would need to spend around 6.7k in order to support a family of 2 children and have a basic standard of living. So if you do the math, this would mean each person will need to have a monthly salary of 9.8k in order to achieve FIRE. Or in other words, if you have got a family and not a high income earner, achieving FIRE is almost impossible. It is no coincidence that many of the biggest FIRE advocates tend to be either high-income earners like influencers or tech professionals, or people without kids, and that includes me. They are in a privileged position to save aggressively, while they often tell everyone else to just do the same, while in reality, everyone's situation can be very different. Quick pause. Webull is currently offering up to $600 in welcome rewards when you sign up to them. With Webull, you will enjoy low trading fees starting from just 50 cents per order with zero platform fee on the US stock market during regular and extended trading hours. And if you often trade a large amount, you can also switch to the fixed commission plan to cap the commission fee to just 90 cents per order for 180 days. Also, advanced option strategies are now live on Webull. You can trade 13 option strategies at one of the lowest rates in the market, at just 55 cents per contract with zero platform fee. Besides that, Webull comes with useful features for both new and long-time investors, such as advanced charting tools, real-time news, analyst ratings, and both technical and fundamental analysis. And if you are looking to park your idle cash, you can check out Moneybull, which lets you earn up to 4.18% 7-day USDU per annum. New users who sign up to Webull now will get up to $600 in rewards when you deposit a minimum of $100,000 by 30th September 2025, 15:59 Singapore time, and maintain the funds there for 90 days. So if you're interested, do sign up to Webull using my link down below. And let's get back to the video. Now, don't get me wrong, there's real value in the FIRE mindset. Learning to live below your means, being intentional with your spending, and investing consistently are good financial habits that can improve your financial life. However, extreme saving isn't realistic for most people. For those with average or low incomes, squeezing every dollar often means adopting a sacrifice now, enjoy later approach, which can take a serious mental and emotional toll over time. When people push themselves to extremes just to hit some extreme savings rates, it stops being about financial freedom and starts feeling more like a financial punishment. A quick look within the FIRE community often reveals people who, despite earning high incomes, are feeling anxious about spending money. For some, even buying a simple coffee can feel like they are flushing millions down the drain. Perhaps the most insidious part of the FIRE journey is that in chasing financial freedom, we often forget to actually live. There's a famous quote that says, "Life is what happens while you are making other plans." We tell ourselves that happiness lies beyond just the FIRE number, that once we reach it, our life will truly begin. So we focus on the spreadsheets, savings rates, and investment portfolio, often at the cost of enjoying the little moments. Things such as a spontaneous dinner with friends, a weekend getaway, a treat for yourself, all become unnecessary expenses rather than moments that make life meaningful. And you know how that random uncle or auntie that always tells you to do things while you still can? Well, they are not wrong. There are things you can do in your 20s or 30s that you will no longer be able to do in your 50s or 60s. Things such as backpacking, rock climbing, or even skydiving. Okay, probably not skydiving because an ama did just that at 90 years old. But beyond all the adventures and thrills, there's perhaps something even more precious. And once it is gone, you can never get it back. In the tail end, Team Urban illustrates that by the time we graduate from high school, we have already spent 93% of our time with our parents. If we are lucky, we only get to share the remaining 7% with them, because while we are chasing financial freedom and planning for the future, precious moments with our loved ones quietly slip away. And unlike money, once time is gone, we can never get it back. Besides that, the one other big part of chasing FIRE will mean that you are often relying heavily on the market to grow your investments. The original Trinity study only examined data from 1926 to 1995 to determine the success rate of withdrawal strategies. While this period did cover significant events like world wars, high inflation, recessions, and market crashes, it still won't be able to guarantee that the classic 4% withdrawal rule will hold true in the future. Especially in today's world of unprecedented market volatility, sky-high valuations, and deglobalization are becoming a common theme. The markets may not continue to outperform like it did in the past, and the idea of the US losing its exceptionalism isn't as far-fetched as it once seemed. One way to reduce country-specific risk is by investing in global funds like VWRA. Still, past performance is no guarantee of future results. With changing market conditions, the big question is, what should the new withdrawal rates be? Some recent studies suggest that a 3.5% or even 3% withdrawal rate might be more realistic. But the truth is, there's only so much you can plan. No matter how carefully you crunch the numbers, you can't predict the next black swan event, recession, or how long a bear market will last. Another major concern is the sequence of returns risk. This is the danger of experiencing poor market returns early in retirement, where even if your portfolio averages a solid long-term return, a few bad years at the start can significantly shorten how long your money lasts. Here, we have two retirees with identical portfolios and the same average annual returns. The key difference is that Investor 1 suffers a 15% drawdown in the first 2 years, while Investor 2 enjoys positive returns early on. Despite the same average performance, Investor 1 ends up running out of money much faster, simply because the losses happen at the worst possible time. Then, of course, life always has a way of throwing unexpected events at us, such as health problems, job loss, or sudden major expenses, any of which can derail even the most carefully crafted FIRE plan. Do a search online and you will often find stories of people who were close to reaching FIRE or had just retired only to have everything fall apart due to the circumstances beyond their control. So unless you have a crystal ball, the truth is that no one can predict future market performance. That's why relying solely on the 4% rule without flexibility, backup income, or contingency plans can often leave you dangerously exposed to financial risks that you don't see coming. As mentioned earlier, you can't just treat life like a goalpost, where it is something you chase, reach, and suddenly everything falls into place. Most people think of retirement as this wonderful period where you no longer have to work, stress disappears, and happiness just happens. You know, when you walk past a coffee shop and you see a bunch of elderly just staring into space, yeah, they may be feeling a little bored and aimless with their life. Without a clear sense of purpose or direction, retirement can feel surprisingly empty. The sudden loss of structure, routine, and responsibility may seem like freedom at first, but over time, it can lead to isolation, dissatisfaction, and in many cases, depression. This is also why some people who have reached retirement age don't actually want to stop working. Just look at the data. At least 1/3 of the elderly individuals in their 60s to 70s are still working. Sure, some of them may need the income, especially with the rising cost of living. But for many, it is about something more. It's about having structure, feeling useful, and perhaps more importantly, a sense of identity. That's why many people don't pursue full early retirements. Instead, they opt for alternative versions of FIRE, like barista FIRE or coast FIRE, where they continue working in some form or another. These options offer more flexibility, doing part-time jobs, freelance work, or passion projects without the stress of a full-time grind. It is less about quitting work completely and more about working on your own terms. In short, while FIRE may sound like an incredible dream worth chasing, it is not the only path to living your best life. The real key is balance. Don't sacrifice everything today for a future that might not bring the fulfillment that you expect. Focus on what brings you joy right now, and the future will take care of itself. Anyway, that's all for this video. Hope you found it useful. Like, share and subscribe as I'll be posting new videos every week.